Have you ever been completely underestimated by those around you, only to use their arrogance against them? In the merciless arena of power, absolute honesty is often a fast track to destruction. History's greatest strategists never revealed their true motives. They mastered the art of psychological camouflage. Just like King Richard III of England, a man who turned his perceived physical and political weaknesses into a terrifying weapon, quietly laying the groundwork to seize the crown, while everyone mistook his silence for incompetence.
Over 2,000 years ago, Sun Tzu codified the ultimate law of warfare in The Art of War. When you are strong, feign weakness. When you are weak, feign strength. Sun Tzu understood that direct confrontation is the tool of fools. Real power lies in controlling your opponent's perception of reality. If your enemy believes you are powerless, they drop their guard and become reckless. Let us step into 15th century England and witness how Richard III executed this exact law to perfection.
During the bloody civil wars known as the Wars of the Roses, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, was the youngest brother of King Edward IV. While his older brothers were celebrated as towering, charismatic warriors of the battlefield, Richard was viewed as quiet, physically frail, and politically harmless. Yet behind that harmless exterior lay a formidable mind, quietly calculating every single move on the royal chessboard, while others fought for temporary spotlight.
For years, Richard played the role of the humble, utterly obedient servant to the crown. Rivals completely ignored him, seeing him as a mere shadow of his brothers who possessed no real ambitions of his own. Richard was actively applying Sun Tzu's core doctrine. While holding immense tactical talent, he feigned complete political harmlessness, allowing his enemies to eliminate each other while he remained entirely untouched in the background.
In 1483, King Edward IV died unexpectedly, leaving behind a 12-year-old heir, Edward V. The royal court erupted into chaos as rival factions scrambled for control of the boy king to rule England from behind the scenes. Yet they completely overlooked Richard, believing the quiet duke was weak, deferential, and easily managed. It was the fatal mistake Sun Tzu warned about, mistaking silent, deliberate strategy for passive weakness.
The moment his rivals moved to secure the young king, Richard shed his mask of passivity. Moving with surgical speed and precision, he intercepted the royal procession, arrested the young king's guardians, and took custody of Edward V himself. He didn't fire a single arrow in open war. He won the first critical round of power entirely through surprise, leaving his enemies paralyzed and helpless.
Now holding the young king, Richard's actual political position was still incredibly fragile and fraught with danger. Here, he inverted Sun Tzu's law. Being internally vulnerable, he projected absolute, unshakable strength. Naming himself Lord Protector, he dominated the royal council with supreme confidence, forcing potential rebels to believe he possessed overwhelming force and making any attempt at a counter-coup seem suicidal. When Lord Hastings, a powerful former ally, began secretly plotting to restore the young king's faction, Richard struck back with terrifying speed. During a routine council meeting, he suddenly accused Hastings of treason and had him dragged out and executed on the spot without a trial. This calculated act of shock therapy sent a clear, ruthless message to the realm. Resistance meant immediate and total destruction. With his rivals scattered and demoralized, only the young King Edward V and his younger brother stood between Richard and absolute rule. Richard placed the boys in the Tower of London under the pretext of their own protection. Soon after, Parliament declared the boys illegitimate, and shortly after that, the young princes vanished from the tower forever, removing the last obstacle to the throne. On July 6, 1483, the man everyone had dismissed as a harmless background figure was officially crowned King Richard III of England. In less than 3 months, through deception, psychological warfare, and ruthless timing, he had taken supreme power. Sun Tzu's philosophy had reached its peak. By appearing weak while building strength, he maneuvered his way to the top of the realm.
However, gaining power through deception creates a dangerous tactical paradox. Once you sit on the throne, you can no longer feign weakness. Your every move is exposed to the entire world. Richard was now king, but he was surrounded by a noble class that deeply mistrusted his every word. He had used illusion to conquer, but now he had to rule in the harsh, unforgiving light of reality. In exile across the Channel, an obscure noble named Henry Tudor began gathering the remnants of Richard's growing list of enemies. Henry possessed little military experience and an extremely weak claim to the throne. But just as Richard had once done, Tudor used his apparent weakness to his advantage, building a massive rebellion in the shadows, while Richard struggled to maintain domestic stability.
Sun Tzu wrote that the greatest danger for any conqueror is to misjudge the enemy once they feel secure in their position. Richard III, confident in his battle-tested army and tactical genius, believed he could easily crush this upstart rebel in open field. When Henry landed in 1485, Richard marched out to obliterate him, underestimating the quiet tide of betrayal rising around him.
On August the 22nd, 1485, the two armies met at the historic Bosworth Field. Richard held the high ground and a significantly larger force, but power built on fear has a fatal flaw. Loyalty becomes an illusion. Lord Stanley, holding a massive army on the sidelines, feigned obedience to Richard while waiting to see which way the wind would blow before making his move. Seeing the battle stall and noticing Henry Tudor isolated with his bodyguard, Richard made a desperate, high-stakes gamble. Wearing his royal crown over his helmet, he led a thundering cavalry charge directly into Tudor's lines to slay his rival personally. It was a breathtaking exhibition of raw bravery, the ultimate and final projection of absolute strength.
At that exact moment, Lord Stanley made his decisive betrayal, charging into Richard's exposed flank with thousands of fresh troops. Cut off and surrounded in the marshland, the last Plantagenet king fought like a cornered lion, shouting treason until he was cut down. His crown was retrieved from a hawthorn bush and placed directly onto Henry Tudor's head.
Richard III lived and died by the law of strategic deception. He used Sun Tzu's principles to ascend from an overlooked duke to the King of England. Yet his story reveals the dark, double-edged sword. When your path to power is built entirely on masks and ruthless maneuvers, no one will ever truly trust you. The very tools that elevated him ultimately isolated him on the battlefield.
Sun Tzu taught that illusion must always serve a grand, stable vision, not just immediate victory. Richard III mastered the tactical side, feigning weakness to strike, but failed the strategic side, building lasting legitimacy and trust. Power gained through illusion can only endure if you can eventually transition that illusion into genuine stability and shared loyalty.
Now, look at your own life through the lens of Sun Tzu and Richard III. How often do you reveal your intentions too early, simply to seek temporary validation from people who don't matter? How often do you brag about your plans or give away your true strength? In a modern world obsessed with oversharing every detail, true power lies in silence, observation, and controlling what others perceive.
And finally, I ask the viewers of The Paradox of Power, in your own pursuit of your goals, will you continue to broadcast your intentions for brief applause, or will you master the discipline of moving in silence, appearing weak until the moment your victory is absolute? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss.